All right, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a show for you. I'm Donald W. Moore. I started Get Off My Lawn Records. I front the Jazz Destroyers. I produced Jesse Thunderwake American Icon. I've got a video with 100,000 views on YouTube, which is weird. Because here we are, we're on episode 27 of the Get Off My Lawn Records podcast. And how are we?
We are very tired.
And who are we? I guess everybody knows. You're married to me.
Yeah, I'm married to you.
And last week we had a big announcement.
We did.
And you're showing.
I'm showing. Of course I'm showing. I'm also sitting kind of funny, but yeah, I'm showing no matter what position I'm in these days.
It's okay. I actually look much heavier on these videos than I do in any of the other videos. It's it's an unflattering angle.
It is. It really is. So yeah, I'm currently exhausted. My allergies are acting up, and I'm hormonal. So
You're really hormonal.
If you see my eyes watering, it could be any one of the three, really.
Yeah. Well, and you make the discs.
I make the discs.
And you do some audio engineering.
Yes.
Though I let you do the audio engineering.
I don't think you have a choice in letting me do the audio engineering, because most of the time when I'm doing the audio engineering, it's because you've got an instrument in your hands.
Yeah, that's true. You basically run sound when... Well, when we're live, Tom
It depends, but yeah, when we're recording downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. Freeform Fridays is really... We're on a new season of Freeform Fridays.
Yes.
Or another session. I don't really keep them in order like that. Like, I keep this show in order.
Uh-huh.
Because I just figure there's got to be a bunch of people out there like me with a good home rig. Right?
You assume there's a bunch of people out there like you. There are some people out there like you.
Yeah.
But then there's a bunch of people that either have really lousy home rigs, or they either have okay home rigs and don't know what the heck they're doing with them.
Well, that's true in both cases. And I certainly have run into guys that are very deep-pocketed that can kind of have this level of gear.
And so they buy all the stuff and don't know what they're doing.
Well, or they know what they're doing, but like I went and I recorded at one studio outside of town here. Hey, Regal Cat, quit playing with that. That's expensive.
Well, then why don't you take it away from her?
Regal Cat, come here.
She's like, no.
This is not...
Ow.
Of course I'm teasing her to get her to show up on camera.
Ow. I didn't need a claw on my leg, though. I'm telling you.
These are, I've been working on a new instrument. Right? Why don't you try to explain to the audience what I've been doing?
Don has been playing Dr. Frankenstein with a Telecaster?
A baritone Telecaster.
A baritone Telecaster. And so, yeah.
I'm not really calling it Dr. Frankenstein, though, because I'm not, like, piecing it together from existing parts.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
You've got the body. You're just putting new stuff on it.
I'm just changing out everything.
Yeah.
The pick guard... I might have gotten a little shielding paint on the front. If I can't get that off, I might have to get a new pickguard.
Why can't you just leave the shielding paint on it?
On the front of the pickguard, it's a little ugly. I'd have to work it into a design and do a design. Maybe I'll do that.
I was gonna say, what's cheaper at this point?
Yeah, it's been it's funny. It was a $500 guitar. And I originally had a Dean Edge Mark IV bass, a 4-string bass.
Yes.
And
you lent it to a friend, and then
his house got broken into, and so my response was, okay, so when will your insurance be reimbursing me?
Yeah. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
listen, I don't know what happened. He was kind of an out there guy, so it was really, it was all just a little suspect. But basically, I traded this bass, this Dean Edge Mark IV. It had chrome hardware and an amber burst and a crack in the body. So if anybody finds it, message me. But well, I played on some records with that one.
Yeah.
And there's samples of me playing just floating around in the universe on that one. So I'd like it back one day, but not. I remember that one just like the baritone. It was super long. It was It was much longer than, or just felt long compared to a lot of basses. The Warwicks feel long too. But yeah, I've been working on an interesting guitar. It's designed to be a duo solo instrument, or really I jokingly call it Fire Your Bass Player because I've got the ability to play bass lines and guitar lines at the same time. And I'll do a more in-depth video about it, but it basically required changing out everything about the guitar other than the wood. And it's been a huge project. It's coming to fruition. I've been at it for, 3 years?
I know you've been talking about it for 3 years. I think you've only been gathering parts and stuff for 2, though.
Yeah, I recorded on this is the instrument I recorded the Jazz Destroyers live with. I did Carrie and Spencer with it.
Yeah, and you hadn't started pulling stuff off and putting stuff on at that point yet.
Yeah, I had just changed the tuning to what the tuning was going to be.
Yeah, and that was it.
And I had changed the tuning pretty early on. I think I've been in Texas too long. I did a gig, one of the very first Jazz Destroyers shows I did with that instrument. And that was with that was right after I had taken the band over after Jake gave up on it. And I wonder if anybody recorded that. I should ask Cody if somebody captured that.
Where was that?
That was a house party. That was Sarah's party. And the drummer brought some girl that got really drunk and obnoxious. And it was embarrassing.
I thought we recorded part of it. Or did your phone die or something?
Yeah, not exist.
I remember there being some video of, or at least still pictures of Cody, but I don't remember if there's video of your set.
Yeah, there's still pictures of that. And I believe Cody and I did a set.
Maybe.
It was like Cody and I, it started with Cody and Jared. And then it was Cody and I think Jared. And we did like 2-3 tunes. And then we did a set as the Jazz Destroyers.
Yeah.
And we had the bass player was very nice, but he just wasn't, it's tough. When you're first starting a band, you just got to play with whoever will play with you. But
yeah, you went through quite a few bass players at the beginning there.
Yeah. I've gone through quite a few bass players in general. And it's tough because I also play bass. I'm the original bass player for the Jazz Destroyers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joe, I'm going to do a lot of. I'm planning a solo record with Joe. And I will certainly be doing solo performances with Joe.
Yes.
This is really designed for me to do solo and duo. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a huge wiring job next. It's very complex. So that's who we are and kind of what we've got going on in our personal lives, right? We'll know the gender, sex.
The genetic sex.
Whether it's an innie or an outie.
Jesus.
We'll know in a couple of weeks, and then we'll start the process of naming.
Yeah, and decorating the nursery.
It's their bedroom. It's not a nursery.
Well, considering we're leaving the queen size bed in there for a while, it's going to be the nursery. I don't want to leave it the way it is.
No, I don't want to leave it the way it is either. We need to finish emptying it.
Well, no, but I mean color-wise, I don't want to leave it the way it is.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me pay. Okay, so
No,
welcome. to the
I'll paint it. Just
So welcome to the show, everybody. If this is your first time and you're still hanging out, hit subscribe. And if you're watching this because you're subscribed, thank you. This helps. We don't make much money at this at all. Like, it's not really about the money, but we're gonna talk about later in the show how the monetization, the rules just changed. So I'm gonna have a video out very quick in relation to everybody else. Hopefully we'll get some views on it. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna talk about starting a YouTube channel right now. And before that, we're gonna do Carissa Explains It All. What are we doing for your segment?
confirmation bias.
That's right.
How did we go from arguing about the nursery to
Back to the show. Hi.
to PBS telethon?
Hey, all right.
You jumped around on me.
Speaking of, we have records for sale. Right? We do. It's right now you can get the Jazz Destroyers live on Bandcamp and iTunes, Amazon, blah 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 blah. Right? We've got on our Bandcamp, getoffmylawnrecords.bandcamp.com. We've got both the Jazz Destroyers live and It's a Secret to Nobody. And this It's a Secret to Nobody's up there for free, so pay what you want. Have a listen. Enjoy.
Yes, and if you send us $13, we will send you an actual physical copy of the album.
That's right. So everything we release, it's going to be $13 for the physical copy. And then we're going to do, and that's including shipping, right? So
Yes.
if you see me at the show, it's $10. And if I have to send it to you, it's $13. But we do those. We're going to just start doing our $25 special editions.
When we figure out how to do those.
Oh no, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, but we have not yet figured out how to do them. We've got an idea of what we want to do, but we have not figured out how to do them.
Well, I've got one planned.
Yes, you do.
We just did Jomo and the Possum Posse live,
Yep.
and it's currently being mixed. So I'm looking forward to that, but I took video, and I have about 10 VHS tapes. So we're going to do a limited run of VHS for that show.
Are they blank VHS?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I thought they had stuff on them.
No, I've got 7 up there. So
okay.
I'm just going to make whatever I've got. I'm going to keep one for myself, and then we're going to sell a few of them, and they're going to be $25 a piece.
Who has a working VCR anymore?
I do.
But it's not hooked up to anything.
Well,
It's not usable at the moment.
Well, that's a semantics thing. I've got friends that are into VHS. VHS is kind of a... Though ironically, I keep hearing people buy VHS and don't watch them. So we'll have to figure out a way. Maybe we'll slip a DVD in a sleeve, and if you buy the VHS, you get the DVD too. That'd be a good idea.
Okay.
And I think we're going to do DVDs at $15.
Okay.
So leave a comment. Let me know what you think of our pricing, because, a lot of this is fluid. So, but we got those. So we'll do the rest of our announcements throughout the show. We're no longer doing a straight up announcements segment. I think that's boring. So let's move on to your segment.
It's about time you thought that was boring.
Which is Carissa Explains It All. What are you doing today?
Confirmation bias. Did you not see the screen?
Of course I saw the screen, but for a lot of people on the show, they don't watch the screen.
Okay. Just saying, why are you asking me when you can see it?
I'm asking on behalf of the audience.
Well, you could have just said it, because I said it just a minute ago, too. So,
Okay.
really,
I swear this is an alcoholic.
no,
just a soda.
it's a diet soda. It's a diet grapefruit soda.
Diet Coke! Sorry. That's a Tropic Thunder reference.
Hey, that came to Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
It's supposed to be on Netflix now. Or this month, anyway.
And here's the funny thing. I have it on DVD on the wall in the other room. Of course, yeah.
Of course.
We should do a video on our DVD collection.
Yes.
I think we'll do a special edition on our DVD collection.
Yeah. And then you can do a special edition on your record collection.
We might have to do a multi-parter with the DVD. How many DVDs do we have?
I don't know. I think we actually counted the movie titles once, and it was somewhere around 2,000.
I think 2,500.
Was it 2,500?
I think so.
I don't know. It seems like they multiply.
Though it's all slowed down.
It has slowed down because, we have a lot of the good ones already.
That's right. You got to hit play in order to go to the next
Yeah.
So while that's pulling up...
Okay. So confirmation bias. What it is the tendency to interpret...
What it is. Sorry. It's what is it? Question mark. Go ahead.
No. It's what it is.
Okay. I promise I wasn't actually the class clown. I just razz you.
And I'm just tired enough to not be in the mood for it.
Listen, the cameras are rolling. You can't actually throw stuff at me this time.
Pennies don't hurt that much.
Happy? So we're giving her the Nerf gun.
Giving me the Nerf gun. And I'm taking it away from him. So what it is the tendency to interpret
I got one for you. Every time you shoot me with a Nerf dart, and you got 3 darts, right? Because we don't do our giveaway. We're not doing a giveaway video anymore. If you decide to shoot me with a Nerf dart, you're going to make a disc, and we'll send it out to somebody as a giveaway. So you have up to 3, but you got to make them. What are we doing? The tendency to interpret, favor, and or recall information in a way that confirms
You're going to get your phone thrown at you.
It's a type of cognitive bias. We just did negativity bias.
Why do I bother? Seriously, why do I bother?
All right, I'm shutting up.
Somebody, please, in the comments, explain to me why I bother.
I'm shutting up. Go ahead. Where's my fidget cube? All right. Please continue.
No, screw it. You already did this whole slide.
No, I didn't. A systematic error of inductive... What does inductive reasoning mean?
You're the one that took the class. Why don't you tell everybody?
I didn't take the class.
You took the class in logic in college.
Yeah, well, that's deductive reasoning. You deduce. It's the same thing. You figure things out logically step by step.
Yeah, basically inductive reasoning is kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Instead of starting with something and working to a conclusion, you've got the conclusion, you're trying to work back from it and failing.
Which is why, so science, right?
Uh-huh.
With science, you formulate a hypothesis.
Yes.
And then you come up with a hypothesis, you then formulate a test to test for the hypothesis.
Uh-huh.
And the whole peer review process is to make sure that there is no systematic error because you're doing inductive reasoning.
Right.
Or if
you're that's why in science you almost learn more from a failed result than you do from a positive result.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, types.
A biased search for information. This one...
I have slides for each of these, so,
Well, in the audio community, right, there's guys that they go and they buy $2,000 cables to go from their stereo to their speakers. And they swear there's a difference. And the biased search for information is they can't really test the 2 cables.
You don't even hear me, do you?
Okay, go ahead.
You really don't hear me.
All right,
I said I had slides for each of these, and that would be the time to discuss things like that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So types: biased search for information, biased interpretation, and biased memory. So the biased search for information. Instead of searching all relative evidence, people only search for the evidence that confirms their hypothesis. Individuals vary in their ability to defend their attitudes from external attacks in relation to selective exposure. So if you've got a high confidence level in your ability to defend your attack, basically, or defend your attitude, you're more likely to go seek out contradictory information to shore up your argument. Whereas if you've got a low confidence level in your attitude, then you tend to seek out information that confirms your attitude.
So a lot of this, the people that bother me more than anybody are people who only kind of follow the news and think they follow the news. I'm a junkie for this stuff. And really, yeah, you have to be you have to just go read and get informed. And the comments are not the place to get informed.
No.
It's funny, they found that,
unless they're posting links to other sources that are decent sources.
It's just, we're all just running our mouths.
Sure.
Right?
We're Americans. We have a right to an opinion.
And by the way, I'm down to have a political debate in the comments, but I'm not having a political debate on this on this show anymore. I don't think that was did anybody think that was interesting? So they vary in their ability to defend their attitudes from external. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one that came to mind for me is all the people who are like seriously anti-vax and can provide you with every example of vaccines gone wrong and cannot tell you one single example of vaccines doing good. That's the one that stuck out to me when I was researching this.
Well, and they just refuse to accept the overwhelming statistics.
Yeah.
Like, they're so... Because there's 300 million people in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to walk everybody through this for a second, this country just shot 50 $1.5 million missiles into another country.
I thought it was 59.
Well, I did it for the math of 50, okay. Right? And I looked it up, and I did an average. I found the total worth of our missile stockpile and the number of missiles of the variety. They're all Tomahawks, right? So it turned out they average like $750,000 a piece per missile.
Mm-hmm.
It is outraging. It's completely outrageous that we threw roughly $35 million at another country.
At a single military base.
That nobody
in another
was
country.
In.
Yeah. Because they'd been given a heads up that this was going to happen.
And by the way, why are we shooting at their army? During the campaign, Trump said we gotta just let Assad be. Anyway, so...
We're not going political.
The whole point
We're not going political.
The whole point is, that action cost each American roughly 10 cents.
So what does that have to do with this?
Well, because the numbers, it's so easy to be outraged over the number, but people have such a hard time fathoming huge numbers. How we could shoot $35 million out of this country, and it's literally only 10 cents per person. Right? Like
yeah, but what wasn't that total amount like something like 75% of Meals on Wheels budget or something?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels costs every person in America, what, less than 15 cents?
Exactly. So just, So anyway, we're all it's when you don't feel confident in your ability to really speak to this stuff, you're only going to seek out information that continues to confirm that,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if you feel really, really confident about you know exactly the answer, as clearly on this subject, I just do. I'm sorry, I have an opinion. But on something like anti-vax, when they look into it and they read and they read and they obsess because a lot of these people are people oftentimes with autism, with children with autism.
And they're looking for an excuse rather than going, this was a genetic fluke.
Well, we don't even know if it's a genetic fluke.
Well,
we don't know what causes it. So
it's definitely genetic in some way because we're talking about something that basically reroutes the way your brain works. You know, it reroutes the pathways. They can tell this. They can do the PET scans and tell.
yeah, and
that to me speaks to a genetic level.
yeah, and it basically and if you'll notice, a lot of these people are also conspiracy theorists.
Of course.
Right? It's the same. It's a cognitive comfort thing to just go read things that confirm your biases. And yeah, that's okay.
So.
But if you're really confident about it, then they're going to go on all the ones that have good things to say about vaccines and just crap all over it in the comments section. That's why it feels like there's so many people out there that feel this way. It's a very low percentage.
No, if
they just are amplified because they seek out the vaccine articles and comment each and every one of them.
Yeah, but they haven't done enough research to be able to determine that the good a vaccine does is more than the bad. So that's why they.
Well, I'm just talking about these people are very confident that it's bad, period, and you're not telling me otherwise. And so they go and they seek it out.
That gets covered in here.
Okay.
Okay. So next one is biased interpretation. So the way two individuals interpret the same information can be biased.
Oh, hell yeah.
So studies have found that contradictory information about a favored belief arouses the emotional centers in our brains. And so a way of...
So I'll have a big old love fest, y'all.
A way of actively reducing the cognitive dissonance induced by reading contradictory information is to basically just go back to your confirmation.
Right, exactly. It's like you show up on a... This is why you should stop commenting on internet articles, right? Because I find myself, if I engage at all, I just get sucked in, and it just turns into an argument, and somebody's got to get the last word. I can't help myself. Because
I know you can't.
These trolls on the internet are so stupid. But they're being intentionally stupid, and they're just trying to get a rise out of me. Though, I don't know. I see a lot of them just post a lot all day long. And, because because I like to read the comments, I like to go through each and every one, and you see the same names over and over.
Sure.
It's like, don't
They
you
don't-
have a...
They don't have lives. They don't have jobs.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they do have lives and jobs, and maybe they're... Because,
Nobody who has the time... Nobody who has the time to do that much posting has a life or a job.
I do a lot of posting
sorry.
on Facebook.
You do a lot of posting on Facebook, but you don't do nearly as much as some of these people.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so...
So yeah, that's biased interpretation.
Yeah, so basically if you're a liberal, you should watch Fox News, but just continue to be outraged. Right? That's what it says. You know I listen to right-wing radio on my drive home every day?
Yeah, but on the drive home, they're better than in the morning.
They really are. Though sometimes I'll catch them and I just sit there and scream at I can't do it. This is why
I can't deal with that much outrage that early in the morning.
This is why people, they disappear into their echo chambers. It's wild, isn't it? All right,
and then biased memory, which is basically selective recall. Emotional memories are reconstructed by current emotional states. So, if you're happy right now, but you're recalling an event 5 years ago where you were grieving a loss, that's going to affect how you remember that grief. But if you're depressed right now and you're recalling a happy memory 5 years ago, it's going to seem not as happy because you're currently depressed.
Okay.
So that's how that works. The memory recall and construction of experiences end up revised in relation to the corresponding emotional states.
Yeah. I like that quote. When an honest man discovers he is mistaken, he will either cease to be mistaken or he will cease to be honest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it unknown? Where the hell did that come from?
I found it on the internet.
Leave me a comment. Let me know where that comes from.
Yeah, if you know where that comes from, that would be great.
We're going to find out it comes from like the Communist Manifesto and they're going to come knocking on the door.
No, they're not going to come knocking on the door for communist
production
manifesto because, you know, there's too many connections to that in our government.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, related effects of cognitive...
Attitude polarization. This is what we see with social media. That's why everybody's just all of a sudden, they all give a crap. We're all just fighting constantly.
Belief perseverance. Preference for early information.
Right. Belief perseverance means you're not changing anybody's mind.
I've got slides for each of these as well.
All right.
Okay. And illusory correlation. Sorry, I can't talk. I'm exhausted.
We're both exhausted.
Okay.
I got a nap into that.
Yeah, you got a nap. I did not get a nap. Okay, so attitude polarization. When people with opposing views interpret new info in a biased way, their views can end up moving even further apart.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily occur when people simply have opposing positions, but rather when they openly commit to those positions. So like in a debate, you know, you're going to end up further apart than you actually are because you've committed to that position.
Right. Where I find when I start debating people, I'm going, just come on, let's find some common ground. There's got to be a line. Go ahead.
Yeah, but, you know, that's not how debate typically works. So this correlates with the bias search for information. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Belief perseverance. Some beliefs persist even after the evidence for them is removed.
This is why when you flatly prove... There was a guy arguing with me that there's no way Bernie Sanders could have $1 million in real estate on a senator's salary. And I just worked it out for him. I was like, listen, 30% of gross salary over 20 years of a senator's salary, you're at $1.05 million. It's totally reasonable because real estate also appreciates. Mm-hmm. And he just refused to acknowledge it. Right? Just, yeah. So you can prove people wrong and it's just going to persist. Okay?
So... the continued influence effect, the tendency to believe previously learned misinformation even after it has been corrected.
Exactly.
So, yeah, this one, again, with the whole link to autism.
Yeah.
With vaccines.
Yeah, you can show everybody, you can show these people proof all day long, and all it's going to do is harden them.
Yeah. Even though the study that showed it has been completely discredited and the lead author has been stripped of his right to practice medicine.
Yeah, we'll do...
And all the other authors completely disavowed it.
Yeah, and we're going to do an episode where we do the research, because you've done quite a bit of this.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of research on it.
And we're going to go through it. I want you to pull out every talking point. We're just going to go through them one by one. But really, if they spout a talking point, it's not going to help. Ultimately, this is going to have to become public policy at some point. But we need to get private corporations out of the business of doing it before we can do that, right? So let's find common ground, everybody. Okay.
Okay. So preference for early info. So information is weighted more strongly when it appears early in a series, even when the order is unimportant. So if you describe somebody as strong, intelligent, untrustworthy, conniving, and a jerk, you're going to remember that person more favorably because the good qualities came first in the list.
Hey, everybody. Yeah.
What?
Nothing. Keep going.
So seeing the initial evidence, people form an opinion that affects how they interpret the rest of the information.
Yeah. And so for people who aren't watching the cartoon, it makes no difference what I say. You've already decided I'm guilty. Gasp! The witch can read minds. It's a guy on the stand at trial. That's how witch... This is... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got distracted by the cartoon. Is that what happened?
No.
Okay. Okay, so illusory correlation. The tendency to see non-existent correlations in a set of data. Objectively neutral or negative evidence is interpreted to support existing beliefs, and it's a kind of biased interpretation and may also reflect selective recall.
So if one becomes aware of confirmation bias, do they get bias confirmation? Do they get confirmation bias? So before you go running around just assuming that, like, this is the walk we have to walk, and this is the line we have to walk in the world, you can't just I don't think it's reasonable to just let people go run their mouths and flood comment sections, because there's also been studies that show that, like, people tend to believe the information in the comments more than they believe it in the article. That's how bad the state of the corporate media is right now. So I don't think it's a good idea to just go, yeah, it's not going to work. You all just have confirmation bias, and it's not worth engaging.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is that we've all just dug our heels in, and you're not changing anybody's mind.
Sure, but you're not going to change anybody's mind who's actually committed to their position and is leaving comments. But for every one person that leaves comments, there's, at least 10 to 20 that are just reading and can get their mind changed because they haven't committed.
Yeah, I want to find there's got to be some sort of reactionary, there's something about certain people who they just crave to be different so bad that they will go, yes, I agree with this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. Okay, so why aren't you liberal? Oh, well, because you're not changing their mind, right? But on the individual issues, they're very, very. You just gotta. It's not. It can be overcome. These biases can be overcome.
Sure,
You can change hearts and minds, but name calling and just being a jerk and just arguing isn't the way to change.
Yeah, it's just gonna make people dig their heels in.
Help people relate back to their life. Like, if try to demonstrate how it affects them personally.
Yeah.
And then you'll get past this a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, yep, and it creates selective recall is just, we have no control over that.
Yeah.
People they have bad days at certain times and things happen, and it's why you won't watch Princess Bride.
It goes back to the negativity bias.
Right, which there's another video with us, #GOML podcast, negativity bias.
And, where we explain that, negative memories go from short-term to long-term memory very quickly, whereas, positive experiences have to stay present for 12 seconds or something before they become long-term memory.
Yep. So, cool.
So, yep.
Is that the last slide?
That is the last slide.
So I want to hear the comments. Let's have a good old-fashioned argument in the comments. I mean, if you want to go spout some stuff, feel free, lean into me. I will have the vaccine debate.
Yes, and we are actually planning a multi-part discussion of vaccines.
Right. So let's have the debate now, and this way I can do the research, and we'll find out what's going on. We're gonna do the whole thing.
Sure.
We will present the anti-vaccine arguments.
Yes.
But we're going to address them point by point. So we need to compile them.
That's part of the reason why it is going to be multi-part.
Yeah.
Because there's no good way. That would be the whole show otherwise.
Right. And now this. So I don't want to hear it. Because I've been told many times I don't get an opinion because I don't have children. So we're not playing that game anymore.
No.
So let's move on. So thanks if you're watching just the clip, we do a full episode every Sunday. And be sure to subscribe. What's next?
What is next?
How to get your first 10,000 views and start making money on YouTube. So in my travels, there are some people in the audience watching who have children who are becoming now of the age of being aware of YouTube as a job. Obviously, YouTube is not a job for me. Right? I still have not broken the minimum threshold for Google to cut me a check.
Yeah.
Right? But currently, our page, we're at about we're a little over 18,000 views. And I'd have to pull up the rest of the metrics. But they just changed the monetization rules. And and I know there's a lot of people, I'm going to share this with my YouTube community. There's a bunch of us YouTubers, right? We share. So but I know in that community, and shout out to Nick Nimmin, right? Because that's how I got to be part of this community. So I'm doing this one kind of to help these people.
Okay.
So if you're just about to start your channel, unfortunately, the rules just changed.
Yes.
Today.
Really? Right. It just happened today?
Just happened today.
Ooh, okay.
Or yesterday. It's been this week. So hopefully we get some search traffic. So let's talk about this because this is a big deal, right? YouTube used to let you, when I first started YouTube, you could only upload, I think it was 5 minutes.
I thought it was less than 10.
The 10-minute mark, you
had to have a director's account to do more than 10, I thought.
Right. It was like that. My first videos went up in 2006. And people still subscribe to that. If you subscribe to that one, you don't have to subscribe to that one, but thank you. I don't really post anything on that, right? If I'm going to do YouTube stuff, though admittedly, like, I got that train set for Christmas, I put a quick video from my phone up. But it's not entertaining. I do it for me. I do it so I have it on the cloud somewhere for free.
Yeah.
And, but YouTube, there's been a big YouTube advertiser boycott. And admittedly, it's been helping. Because we're pretty advertiser friendly. We've talked about it in the past where we've had a few videos demonetized when we got really political, which is kind of why we knocked off the politics. Because ultimately, I want to use this money to help pay for the advertisements for the artists.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is not, or maybe college fund, right? But it's. It doesn't matter because we haven't gotten a check, and we're not getting a check for another year and a half based on if the model continues if we stay flatline.
Yeah.
So help a friend subscribe, please. And the reality is now when we first started, you could just upload your first video as long as you confirmed it with I think an email address. You could just turn on advertising. When I first started YouTube, there was no advertising option. And then years later, when we did Jesse Thunderwake, they were just starting to do some ads. And we were doing Thunderwake Presents, and it seemed like a great idea. We had videos go viral. It was really kind of cool. But like we had applied to become a partner account. That was the only way you'd qualify for it, and we just I don't think they wanted us. I think they were like, yeah, your channel's too small, bro. And because that channel only had a couple hundred subscribers, we had things get like 14, 15,000 views.
Yeah.
And we did that, and then by the time I started the Jazz Destroyers, I could just put up ads right away. Right? The big hurdles I've had in the most recent is your first 100 subscribers before you get your URL.
Yeah.
It's a weird string. You're almost better off setting up a website and doing an auto direct to your YouTube page than trying to live off of that username anyway. So keep that in mind. So your first 10,000, now the rules today changed. You are not allowed to turn on advertising on your videos until you get to your first 10,000 views.
Seriously?
And that took us about 3.5 months.
Okay.
And what we do, let's talk about the schedule real quick, because everybody should understand like how this show is formatted. I mean, the subscribers who are watching, they probably know, but we do a full show on Sundays, and then I keep probably 80% of the show and release them as individual clips throughout the week. Originally, I had structured it where we'd have 5 news stories on Mondays. We called them "Do You Give a Bleep?"
Yep.
But I was clogging up people's subscription feeds, and it was kind of turning people off. And none of them really got a lot of views.
Yeah.
So the graphics work to do thumbnails on everything would have been... Once I learned to do thumbnails, if you're watching this now, you have to do custom thumbnails. There's lots of good tutorials on how to do thumbnails. I recommend a guy named Nick Nimmin. And he's been great. He's kind of a mentor to me. But maybe what I'll do is when I make my first 150, he offers a bunch of services. Like we could use a rebrand and things, but I'm just gonna have to go DIY. We just don't.
Yeah.
We don't make that much money on the YouTube channel to be paying external consultants. So, but Nick does a lot of cool things. He talks about the importance of your thumbnail and your tags. So when you're doing 5 individual videos in a day, it's a lot of work.
Whoa.
What I try to do is I take the full episode and then I post the clips, because most people aren't going to make it through the full episode. I figure they're going to watch the first section and then come back the next day for the next section. And I can tell that based on our average view times, which is about 14 minutes channel wide.
Yeah.
Right? So thanks for watching. But I try to make the show convenient in that way. So throughout the week I upload one video. I've been experimenting, but I've got thumbnails together and things, but it's probably time to redo the thumbnails. We've had a couple of videos go to a couple thousand. I think our top performing video right now is 4,600, maybe 5,000 though.
Okay.
So if you go with that kind of schedule, and you get a couple that are really searchable, and those are the wacko special edition ones where they don't really have anything to do with the show.
Okay.
You know, like our Moog, we unboxed a Moog model, a Moog Mother 32, and Tom already had one. We racked it, and it was a lot of fun. But we did an unboxing. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and I want you to do a Carissa Explains It All. Do we have one for next week, or are we starting the vaccine?
I can do anything. What do you want?
I want you to do conspicuous consumption.
Conspicuous consumption.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this, or we could do a general, the theory of the leisure class. It's really weird. I know, listen, I love having all this stuff, but I also know that people take me very seriously because I have all this stuff. There's a weird bias there that because I have all these things, I know exactly what I'm talking about. But really, I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for 20 years. So, but the conspicuous consumption part of it, so if you've got something expensive show it off on YouTube, and you'd be surprised. Do a review of it or something. Especially if it's new, like if you're getting something release date and you can put the video together and get it up that day, you can generate some serious search traffic. But don't go into debt buying a bunch of stuff. Like, just show off the stuff you're buying anyway, and try to have it be a niche thing but searchable. That's why unboxing therapy does so well. Hey, Regal Cat. Say hi to Regal Cat. We have a Instagram. It's at the Jazz Destroyers. There's a bunch of pictures of Regal Cat. So I would show off what you've got, right? Especially material possessions, and it's gonna help. It's stupid. It's really, really stupid, but it is. So it just is what it is. So if you can do that, that's awesome. Being funny helps, but funny's tough for search.
Yeah.
You know, it's really figuring out a way to get the search traffic. And I need to do more of it. I've just been doing these sections off the cuff. I've just been talking about things I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Right? We do a lot about music production on this channel.
Yeah.
But this is like I'm not trying to be a YouTube guru for everybody, but the rules just changed for you right now. So the message I wanted to leave with you is you have to start. You have to upload multiple times a week, and you have to put the work into the tags and into the thumbnails, but you have to start. And you have to upload a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
So and you're not going to make money at it unless you get huge viewership.
Right.
So if your whole goal in life is to start making money on YouTube through advertising, it's a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Right? We really do this to remind you guys that we have albums for sale on Bandcamp and at getoffmylawnrecords.com.
And because Don likes the sound of his own voice.
Well, yeah. But you have to start. Mm-hmm. You have to start your channel now, and you have to actually start uploading. Because what's going to happen is YouTube's is owned by Google, and they're pretty big, and they're pretty anti-manual labor, right? So if you're approaching if you start and you hit it very early, your first 10,000, then when you apply, because you have to now apply to be a partner after you've gotten your 10,000, they're going back to the partner system.
Okay. So everybody else is grandfathered in, I'm taking it?
I don't, honestly,
or
I don't know.
Do you have to now reapply?
Yeah, leave me a comment, because I'm already past the threshold. So
yeah.
Leave me a comment and let me know if your channel's been affected by this. Also, the David Pakman's channel's getting crushed right now because of the YouTube ad boycott.
Well, yeah, but his is a purely political show.
It really
is.
It's
not even so much news as it is political opinion.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he lists lots and lots of facts, but he is compiling a list of facts that support his opinion.
Sure.
Yeah. I like that channel, though. I watch his channel.
Sure.
It's a good channel. And Jimmy Dore, right? Jimmy Dore is a lot of fun. So that and engage with a community. Mm-hmm. I've met a lot of people through this, and a lot of them I've met a lot of starting YouTubers, and some of them grow right up to our size faster than we did, and some of them aren't.
Sure.
Right? And the consistency is the key, but you can't just upload a video and hope.
Yeah.
You have to let people know that your video exists if you want them to watch. Especially when you're trying to grow a channel.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to get like 10,000 views on something, there's 100,000 different ways to do it. Mm-hmm. And there's ways that cost money that are legitimate but are expensive.
Yeah.
So
So I've got a question.
Sure.
How does the advertising work on like the advertiser's end? Like, do they just say, "Hey, we want to advertise on YouTube," and then Google places it on random videos, or do they kind of get to pick and choose which channels they advertise on? Or
Well, so David Pakman just did a video. He apparently somebody's trying to specifically advertise on his. I haven't run ads on YouTube, so I'm not entirely sure. We're going to learn very quickly, very soon.
Sure.
We're going to learn how to do this, but
no, I'm thinking,
they have an AdSense. It's generally based on tags. Is how videos are paired, or is how videos are paired with advertisers.
Okay, but see.
And demographics.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is can an advertiser go, "Hey, this show appeals to my demographic. I want to advertise on this particular YouTube channel."
Well, with David Pakman's a special case.
I'm not just saying David Pakman. I'm just saying anybody.
I think you can kind of target them a little bit, but you would target them through their tags more than
the actual channel themselves.
Channel. Yeah. So that's an important step of it, though, is you have to let people know and engage.
Yeah.
And don't spam. Right? I walked the line. I know I walked the line. If you're friends with me on Facebook,
I think you crossed the line in the beginning.
Probably, but it was like, help me get to these because I needed to print stuff. And the first 100's the hard part. The first 100 you can wrangle your family and friends to get you to your first 100.
Right.
We are fortunately at 224 today.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you for checking it out. And if you haven't subscribed. Because I do a lot of audio advice, and I want to engage with the audience. I want to know what, like, if you're a starting YouTuber, I'm sure you have music or audio questions. Yeah. So the other thing is you cannot use copyrighted music in your videos because they're going to now review them.
Sure, but that's always been the case, that you shouldn't be using copyrighted music in your videos.
I understand, but like
it's.
But people, I don't think a lot of, especially younger people that want to start, they don't understand this concept. If it's a song you recognize, it's basically copyrighted unless it's classical music.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yeah, no, it's. I think the current copyright rule is life of the artist plus 70. Or did they change it recently?
It's anything
they change it for Mickey Mouse, basically.
Give or take. So, basically, if you've heard it on the radio, you're not able to use it. You can ask permission, but oftentimes they want to be paid for that.
Yeah.
With Get Off My Lawn Records, I make the catalog available for use, just no hate speech.
Yeah.
No hate speech. And yeah, like anything from Freeform, if somebody wants to use it on their podcast, I just ask no hate speech.
Yeah.
And give me credit. That's all I ever ask. So
sure. But other people want money before you get to use their stuff.
Right. So use something of mine and not Nirvana. That's what I'm trying to say. If you got to go find the independence. So that's really, you have to engage your audience, you have to engage a community that you're involved in. Like, I'm really involved in the audio, in Gear Sluts, right? And Synth Memes. These are the two communities I engage with a lot. And so I try to make some content for them.
Yeah.
Because I promote my channel to them. So it would be silly for me to do, like, health and beauty tips. No, nobody wants to see my health or beauty tips. So you engage with your community, get your tags right, and show off what you've got. Show off your car. Like, that will be. I would say everybody should do a video about their car. I should do a video about Darth Versa.
Okay, just blur out the license plate.
I'll just take it off for the video. Right? For the exterior shots.
It just seems like it'd be easier to just blur it in post.
No, I'm going to do panning shots. Glorious panning shots.
Glorious panning shots.
Put a big old piece of paper over the license plate.
There you go.
or just
Make it something ridiculous, like orange construction paper or something.
hashtag GOML podcast.
Yeah.
So that is how. So you got to make sure, and then there's other videos on how to get views, right? That you should also watch. But ultimately, I have had getting those first 10,000. It's I've been very fortunate in that I found a couple of things that popped with my community. So figure out what community you're involved with. If it's gaming, good luck. The gaming community is very funny. I want to do some gaming content on here though. Does anybody want to watch me play Duck Hunt? Give me a comment. So
I thought you already had a video of that.
I live stream myself beating Duck Hunt on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't done any gaming on this channel.
Thank you.
See what I deal with?
It's
See what I deal with? We did.
It seems like a way to get 10,000 views would be to create a video that says how to get 10,000 views.
Let's see if it works. All right, so thanks for watching. Leave me a comment. Check out the whole channel. We do a weekly show every Sunday. What's next? Okay. See, I've been messing with the keynote, and I'm not sure what I'm... Shout-outs. Let's do our shout-outs. I've shouted out a couple of people, but I want to do some shout-outs. I want to do a shout-out to Jomo and the Possum Posse. We're doing more than 3 now. We're just going to do shout-outs. So I'm looking forward to getting the mix back from Jomo. He wanted to do the mix. I said I need right of refusal, but I'll let you try. I want to give a shout-out to Jared James.
Okay.
And Michael Gregory.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday. Michael was on our Ask a Canadian episode.
Yes.
We just went and saw the Texas Stars together. And we're going back next Wednesday because they won. Like, you get... they call it Winning Wednesday. If they win, you get tickets to the next game.
Okay.
So, happy birthday, Michael. Happy birthday to my cousin Jennifer, who was unfamiliar with some of my earlier works, and I was telling her that I was auto-tuning before auto-tuning was called auto-tuning.
No, it's called auto-tuning. You're just bad at it.
No, that's exactly the sound I wanted. The vocals came out too thin, though. I should have compressed the snot out.
You didn't know what the heck you were doing. I'm not sure you even knew how your compressor worked at that point. Did you even have a compressor at that point? I think you had like the internal compressor, the plug-in or whatever.
Oh, that's right. I did. I wrote. So we're doing a giveaway this week. I'm leaving a link in the description, right? Mm-hmm. I'm compiling all of my old college
projects.
And I'm gonna put them up for pay what you want. But I'm gonna do a remaster on them.
Okay.
So I'm compiling those. But this one I cannot release officially because it's a cover and I don't want to pay the money to license it. So I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna. I've got it on the cloud. I've got a download link in the description below. And enjoy this week's giveaway. It is One is the Loneliest Number. It's just called One.
One.
And it was written by Harry Nelson.
Yep.
And it's awesome. And I pulled it off of an old hard drive and remixed it. Or remastered it.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Sounds in Between. They're playing their first show tomorrow. It's Friday night. When this show goes up, it'll be yesterday that they played their first show.
Yep.
We just recorded them. Normally, I am looking for bands that gig, but Josh and Engen are really hungry.
Yeah.
Which is a different kind of deal. But I'm going to have to help them book a little more than others that I'm looking to work with. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a really stellar record. I'll have something relatively soon for that.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to the Synth Memes group.
Okay.
Because, what's up, guys? I meant to have Chris Peterson on this show, and I screwed that up. I'm sorry. Let's do that next week or week. Let's just knock it out and get the interview done. I want to talk to Chris because he's got 3 kids.
Yes.
He's a single dad. And
Yeah.
I find that fascinating all of a sudden.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna, Anyway, so I want to talk to him about that, and I want to talk to him about comic books. And he's kind of on me to be on his podcast, like help guest host while his buddy's unavailable.
Okay.
So shout out to Chris. A shout out to the Highball.
Mm-hmm.
And to Millicent Hughes, who we're going to record in May.
Yes. Has that been confirmed, or is she still working on stuff?
I'm leaving her be. I don't want to stress her out.
Okay.
I talked to Josh, and Josh said, I asked him, I said, I don't want to stress her out, because I know that if I'm pestering her, but, we can't be sight reading in the studio with this, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, but we're set to record, like, in about a month. So, yeah, it's about time to start rehearsals, so I'm going to ping her. But I'm sure she's getting close. I want to give a shout out to Pat Contry, who wrote the Ultimate Guide to the Nintendo Library. This is actually a very heavy book. This is the first edition.
And you just got some sort of
cat hair. And I want to give a shout out to Paul Serrato.
Okay.
Right, because Paul, we got one day of recording with Paul.
Uh-huh.
And we got 2 things done. We got a third, but we're not happy with it, so we're not going to release that. But we got 2 tracks done.
Okay.
And I've got all of these Freeform Fridays videos about to go up. I think I'm going to take some of those and fill that out into an EP and put that up here pretty soon.
Okay.
But physical media is still going to be $10, so I'm not going to make a whole lot of those. So if you're really into rare CDs, here's your op. But we're going to have to do a run of those.
Yeah.
He is sending me a bunch of photographs.
Is he?
And the one tune I couldn't do video of, so I'm going to do a photo collage with his photographs.
Okay.
That's going to be a fun project, and I'll spend an evening on that. Who are your shout-outs?
My first shout-out is to Costco. Because when I went in there today, half the stuff I needed to buy was on sale. So, yay!
Awesome.
Second shout-out is to McDonald's, who really, 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 really needs to start making fries in the mornings.
Wait, you can get breakfast all day, but you can't get fries in the morning?
Yeah.
Go across the street. There's always a Burger King.
Burger King was too far away.
Mm.
So, yeah. Really, Congress, come on now. Of all the useful things you could be doing, this is one of them.
Requiring private business to make french fries in the morning?
Yes. Because pregnant Crystal wants french fries at 9:30 in the morning.
Seize the means of production, pupper. All right. I want to give a shout out to your parents who are very, very excited.
Yes.
They are, your father called me on I think he butt dialed me.
Did he butt dial?
I got a FaceTime call, and I answer. I'm like, hello, hello, hello. And then I'm like, I'm pretty sure Chester doesn't know he's calling me right now.
Okay.
Hung up. And then like 5 minutes later, I get another one. I get another call, and he was breaking up real bad, and he was like, you called me? And I'm like, no, you called me. It was very funny. So what's up, Chester? Who else? Shout out to Leon. Feel better, bro.
Shout out to Becca. Because, she's going to have to deal with my moody butt in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're really moody right now. She's not going to take nothing. Sorry. It's like I'm going to be there. It's going to be... But I'm going to have to hold down the fort. Wait, that's a weekend, isn't it?
That's a weekend. You get a break. You get 4 days break from me.
I do. I'm going to have to bring in, like, a guest onto the show.
Or we record it Thursday night.
We're recording this one Friday night. This is getting earlier and earlier. I'm not against Thursday nights.
Or Thursday afternoon, because I'd like to be asleep Thursday night. Since I have to be up at like 2 in the morning. So.
Yeah. And a shout out to David Packman, right? Like, and Jimmy Dore, because I mentioned him earlier, but David Packman's really hurting. Like, half of his revenue disappeared because he does memberships, but I don't got the bread for it. But he's just got a Patreon going. I don't want to start it. Just buy a record. We have ways to support us. We don't need to do Patreon.
Yeah, we don't want you to just give us money. We want to give you something in return for the money. So.
Yeah. And a shout out to Francesca. She's very excited. She messaged me.
Okay.
And to my mother, who is
also
I'm sure
excited,
knitting right now.
Probably.
Or crochet, or she's probably crocheting.
Or quilting, or
quilting. It's funny.
I wasn't entirely sure which one she was doing, to be honest with you.
Like, all of a sudden, my world's like my friends don't care. They're just like, they're just kind of making fun of me a little bit. But yeah, the whole family situation has just shifted.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, and a shout out to my buddy Alex, who deserves a shout out.
Okay.
He's, yeah. And to everybody on the Get Off My Lawn Records family, right?
Yes.
You can join the family. I don't overpost in there.
No, he's actually very good about it.
I'm really good about it. I really try not to pester y'all. But yeah, we have a Facebook group you can join. And I only post in there once or twice a week. So, because you get notifications, it's annoying being part of Facebook groups usually. But I try to keep it just, hey, here. Because if I post it on the Facebook page, not everybody sees it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did our goal. Our goal, I would like to get to 225 next week. I'd actually really like to get to 230 subscribers next week. So, if you know somebody who should be watching the show, help them subscribe, because we're just trying to get this. Yeah. We're just trying to build an audience for our artists. What's next? Yeah. Sophomore album syndrome. Is it real?
In some cases.
Certainly in some cases.
In some cases, the sophomore album ends up being more popular than the first album.
Have you noticed a historical trend? Because I tend to find that debut albums on artists from the 60s and 70s were actually much weaker than their second. Typically.
You know, it's been my experience that a lot of, maybe the second album doesn't sell as well, but the material on it is just as strong, if not stronger, than the first one.
Yeah. And so I've come to this conclusion that in almost all cases, there's this myth that gets thrown around, this whole, you got your whole life to write your first one, but you only got 6 months to write your second one. The label's rushing you and you can't make it as good as you. No, because you spend your whole life learning how to write.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to the next one, you've already learned how to write, so now you just need to go to work. Right? You just need to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do your first album, you do it at such a leisurely pace because there's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be, like, before anybody goes into a multi-record contract, I would always recommend, like, make sure you're prepared to write the next album.
Mm-hmm.
Because that'll be the harder one to do, just because all of a sudden it becomes work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just do record by record. I'm not...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to leech off of people forever. That's not good. But at least, if I sign you do one record, and then if you don't like it 5 years later, you can record the exact same songs and cut me out.
Yeah.
I don't actually think the sophomore album syndrome is a thing. I think it's a byproduct of audience expectation.
Sure, because a lot of times you'll want the second album to sound exactly like the first album, but the artist has matured. The artist has different life experiences.
Progressed.
Whatever, and so and they already did the first album, so why would they want to do it again? So they put out something different, and the audience is just like, wait, this isn't what we wanted.
Freaks out. Well, and also, at least what I noticed starting in the late '90s, especially, all of a sudden the labels, the first album would come out, and they would put out a lot of first albums. A lot of people, they would sign 100 bands, 10 of them would get released, and one of those would become a hit. But then that second one, that one that became a hit, they'd offer the second album to, and then they would spend a fortune hyping it.
Yeah.
So you're going, oh my god, 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 oh my god. Tomorrow's the day. Weezer's got another album, and you're so excited, and you run to the store, and you run to the store, and you run to the store, and you get the album, and it also has a single color. Right, it was the blue album. What was their second one?
Pinkerton.
Oh, good. See, that's why you hate it. Why couldn't they just do like the green album or the red album?
See, I loved Pinkerton. Pinkerton's my absolute favorite Weezer album.
You get my point, though, right? But the labels hyped it up a lot.
Sure, and the court case didn't hurt, but
but all bands that have a first hit get this treatment, and so the audience builds. It's like these video games. You build it up in your mind, and then No Man's Sky doesn't have anything you were expecting.
Yeah, it's you build it up so much, it's never going to be as good as you built it up to be.
And that's where the sophomore album syndrome comes from. It's not a problem of the artist, it's a problem of the audience, and it's really a problem of the marketing.
See, then I come back to Live. Live's first album was good. Their second album is the one where they really broke out. But when I listened to the second album, the only standout songs were the singles.
Well,
now, granted, that album had like 4 singles on it, but that was it out of like 12 songs on the.
Well, in that era, that was the standard operating procedure. The reality is that the person who writes the song is going to get paid, and the person who plays the song is going to get paid a lot less, right? So somewhere in the 70s, a lot of musicians figured that out and started writing for themselves. But then by the end of the 80s, and the Police were a very famous breakup with these. If you look at the Police liner notes, they go from written by the Police to written by Sting and the Police. And now all of a sudden Sting's making more money. And all of that money would come from the labels getting the stuff pushed out to radio airplay, and they would get songwriter royalties. So they would spend all of their money and time working on the singles, and then they would just throw together the rest of them.
Sure. But that's also how Pete Townsend became a millionaire before the rest of the Who. He was the one writing the songs.
Right, and that's why bands break up.
Sure.
So that's why with our contract, we just treat everybody like the band. The band is the band is the band. And ultimately, though, those kinds of things can create internal conflicts. But it's really a problem with the audience. The audience expects too much from an artist on their second album.
But is it a problem with the audience, or is it a problem with the PR machine?
Well, the PR machine is really there to raise awareness. And so if you're talking about somebody's favorite band, you're not going to release you're not going to temper expectations with a press release. You're going to announce. And then the audience will let it run through their head over and over and over until they build up some
some of the advertising I remember seeing for those albums, I think that was almost guilty of exploiting the hype.
Right.
And that was building it up more than the audience expectations of it. that was just increasing audience expectations of it.
Yeah, but I mean,
When if it was just announced and kind of,
have you ever known a company to have truth in advertising? Exactly. All right. So that's my thoughts. Did you have any other thoughts on Sophomore Album Syndrome? I'm saying everything you think you know about Sophomore Album Syndrome is actually wrong, because I've been in the middle of this for so long and I've written enough records to realize, yeah, it's not because the label's rushing them. It's because the hype machine and the fandom gets so rabid that there's just no way for it to live up.
Yeah, and that always bothered me because a lot of these albums are just as good, if not better.
Yeah, I really love Cargo by Men at Work. I really do. If you haven't heard that record, you should go check that record out. It's actually pretty good. It's one of my favorites. I'm really glad I have it on vinyl, even though it's like, the sort of thing you find in a dollar bin. So yeah, what's next? Everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy.
So we're going to give the audience the Hanging In There Award trophy. You're on the final section. This is great. Thank you for hanging out. Leave a comment if you actually make it all the way this far. And make use hashtag everybody gets a trophy. And I want to give you you get an A for effort. You definitely get an A for effort this week. You get the A for effort award.
The A for effort award.
Because you've been pretty awful in everything but effort, but you have been giving it 110% this week, and thank you.
What do you mean I've been pretty awful in everything but effort?
You're terribly moody. You forget everything, and if you were my employee, we would be having a chat. But you've been very flaky this last week, but you really have been putting in 110. It's a byproduct of the pregnancy.
Yeah, so I blame you for all of it.
Yeah.
Because without you, I would not be pregnant.
This is so, but really, you've been giving it 110, and I really thoroughly appreciate that.
Okay.
I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm recognizing. I love you.
I love you too.
You commented to me earlier this week that I'm just an incubator to you right now. And I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yep.
But I really do love you, and I appreciate your efforts.
Okay.
But we need to make more discs.
You haven't given me numbers.
Just go start making them. Make a few. Make 5. Make 10.
And you were telling me that we were making new discs.
Well,
and you haven't gotten me any of that artwork either.
I get that, but we need to get more, because I still owe a bunch of people their copies of Freeform Fridays.
Gotcha. What happened to all the ones we just made? Where'd they all go?
I've got a stack of them downstairs, but I intend to sell them as well. So
okay.
I believe the stack will just cover. Stack won't even cover all of the ones we have to give out. There were 22 people that worked on that album.
Yeah, and we made like more than that in terms of.
No, we made like. I think we made 30 discs, if that. I think we made 20 discs, and we sold. We made
30. We made 30.
We had that pre-order.
We had the pre-order, and then out of those 22 people, you and I are 2 of them.
Right.
So we don't need a copy.
Oh yes,
you've got the master copy.
I have the master, and I've got a misprint in the car.
Yeah.
But still, I owe a bunch of people copies, and I still need to sell copies.
Yeah.
So please make more.
Okay.
Quit arguing with me and just make more discs.
Usually you give me numbers, but you haven't given me numbers, so.
This is okay. I really appreciate your efforts this week. Because I actually can,
yes.
This is not, I know you're getting frustrated with me, but I'm extremely frustrated with you, but I understand why.
Yeah, you get the infuriating husband award this week.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I had a better one, but I forgot it.
It's rough. It's just rough.
It's
right now.
horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Really, it's
I just thank you for doing this on video because now I have videographic evidence.
pregnancy
of this.
brain is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's rough for everybody.
Seriously, birth control is your best friend.
It's just rough. It's temporary though.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure out how you talked me into this.
Doctor said the baby was about that big now.
Yeah. About the length of that pen.
That's wild. All right. So on that note.